In the shadowed heart of Port Charles, where alliances shift with a whisper and revenge is brewed like strong coffee in sunny Corinthos kitchen, the storm engulfing the city swelled into something much darker on this turbulent Wednesday. What began as quiet maneuvering erupted into a lethal game of manipulation, sacrifice, and betrayal, with both family and criminal syndicates locked in a dance of mutual destruction. At the center of this shifting web stood three pillars of reckoning: Selena Wu, Marco Rios, and Sonny himself, each poised at the brink of consequences they could neither control nor avoid. Selena Wu found herself summoned to Windermere, the ancestral stronghold now echoing with the sinister intentions of Jens Sidwell. The air was thick with menace as Sidwell presented her with an ultimatum, cloaked in civility but underscored by a death threat. According to Sidwell, the bombing of Charlie's pub had been traced to individuals in her inner circle, an accusation that could easily bring about her execution in Sonny's world. Though Selena immediately recognized the setup for what it was, her confidence faltered when Sidwell painted a convincing portrait of what would come next: Sonny's wrath, fueled by the loss of his grip and the perception of betrayal. Sidwell offered Selena a narrow exit, a strategic retreat from Port Charles, promising her a return only once Sonny himself had been erased. It was not a warning, it was a challenge cloaked in condescension. Back in the heart of General Hospital, a different kind of devastation played out. Marco Rios stood over the lifeless body of Natalia Ramirez, his tears staining the sterile hospital floor. He was not alone in grief. Lucas, Anna, and Chase all bore silent witness to the tragedy, but it was Marco whose emotional collapse foretold a coming war. Word soon surfaced that Natalia had overdosed after seeking out Sonny at his granddaughter's christening. Marco, consumed by grief and rage, pointed a trembling finger at Sonny, convinced the kingpin had orchestrated the end of Natalia's life. Though lacking concrete evidence, Marco's suspicions found traction in a town already burdened by too many secrets. Lucas, meanwhile, intervened to silence any mention of Natalia's plan to flee the country, protecting Marco from legal fallout, but burying another layer of truth beneath mounting lies. Security footage surfaced, grainy but damning, capturing Sonny's men lurking outside Natalia's hotel suite hours before her death. Anna took it seriously. While Sonny brooded over his next move against Sidwell, blinded by fury and betrayal, Anna interrupted with cold authority and the weight of new evidence. For the first time in a long while, Sonny Corinthos was no longer just the hunter. He was a suspect, a man summoned for questioning over the death of a woman whose blood might end up on his hands, metaphorically or otherwise. In the aftermath of the Charlie's Pub inferno, the weight of recent tragedies began to settle like ash across every corner of Port Charles. At the Quartermain estate, Brooke Lynn revealed damning financial ties between Sonny and the embattled cosmetic company, Deception. The revelation stunned Tracy Quartermain, who instantly recognized its potential, not only as leverage but as evidence to offer the authorities. When Chase arrived with news of Christina's near death and Natalia's fatal overdose, Tracy's resolve crystallized. She declared her intention to keep young Gio far away from Sonny's orbit, seeing clearly now that proximity to the Corinthos name was no longer protection, it was peril. Elsewhere in the city, another kind of reckoning brewed. At a cozy coffee shop, Emma Scorpio Drake tried to reignite Gio's passion for music, urging him not to abandon his studies at PCU. Though Gio confessed to feeling lost, Emma wasn't ready to let him spiral. She dangled the promise of a new purpose, hinting at a mysterious opportunity involving Professor Hank Dalton's lab. The cryptic mention of drastic measures piqued Gio's suspicion. Was Emma walking the line between brilliance and illegality? And if so, would he follow? The undercurrents of conflict weren't confined to the criminal elite. In a corner of General Hospital, Lucas confronted Elizabeth about Natalia's toxicology report. The overdose, far from straightforward, now hinted at a larger power play that threatened to splinter Port Charles into factions. The Rios family and the Corinthos family stood on the edge of a battlefield with Lucas caught in the middle, both a doctor and a relative, a healer and a potential casualty of the war that loomed. Outside the still smoking ruins of Charlie's pub, Jocelyn Jacks seethed. Her fury toward Sonny boiled over in a charged exchange with Vaughn, who had quickly become more than just her professional partner. Vaughn, perceptive and composed, recognized Jocelyn's ambition. She didn't just want justice, she wanted to dismantle Sonny's legacy, brick by brick. To Vaughn, her vendetta wasn't just valid, it was noble. Their shared passion culminated in a kiss, no longer an act for show but a declaration of war, personal, professional, and emotional. Even as Jocelyn and Vaughn crossed a new threshold, elsewhere Marco was crumbling. Lucas made the call to Sidwell, whose grief upon hearing of Natalia's death appeared genuine. When Sidwell arrived to console Marco, he learned the full scope of what had transpired. That Marco had charged into a burning building to save Christina while Sonny, the man who should have protected his own, now stood accused of playing a role in Natalia's death. The moral inversion was too much to ignore. Marco saved Sonny's daughter, and in return, lost his mother. For Sidwell, that irony cut deeper than any knife, and it birthed questions too dangerous to ignore. Was Sonny capable of orchestrating Natalia's death in a fit of retribution? Did Selina's warnings fall on deaf ears, or had she already disappeared into the shadows, planning her own return? Was Marco, in his sorrow, now a pawn in Sidwell's growing vendetta, or was he becoming something else entirely? And what would happen when Jason, ever loyal, discovered how deep the rot truly went? By day's end, the mask of calm had slipped from Port Charles, revealing the chaos beneath. No one, neither mob boss, grieving son, nor ambitious daughter, would emerge unscathed. The city was no longer just a haven for secrets. It had become a crucible, burning away loyalties and leaving behind only truth, vengeance, and blood.